You've seen it happen, right? A friend, maybe a creator you really admire. One day they're everywhere on your feed, and the next, poof, they're just gone. No big "I'm leaving social media" announcement, just an empty profile. It's like a digital disappearance, a modern mystery I like to call the ghost protocol. So come on, let's play detective and figure out what's really going on here. So, what is it that makes someone just pull the plug? I mean, to consciously walk away from a world that's been built from the ground up to keep us hooked? It's a really fascinating question because it pretty much goes against the whole point of these platforms, which is, endless connection and being seen all the time. Now, I know what you're thinking. The obvious answer, right? Maybe they're just antisocial or they're going through a tough time. And yeah, sometimes that's definitely the case. But more often than not, the real story is, well, it's a lot more complex and frankly, way more inspiring than that. Here it is. The real reason is that they've simply outgrown the need for that outside approval. They've hit a point where the digital applause, the likes, the shares, the follower count, it's just not the measuring stick they use for their own self-worth anymore. So how in the world does someone get to that point? Let's break it down. All right, our first clue is all about psychology. It's about how our brains are literally wired to handle rewards. And it explains exactly why that little thrill you get from a notification, why it eventually just stops working. The concept is called hedonic adaptation. I know it sounds super academic, but it's a simple truth about all of us. We just get used to things. Think about it. That big raise at work, that shiny new phone, the initial buzz always fades. And social media validation? It's absolutely no different. And wow, this slide just nails that feeling perfectly. Think way back to your first 10 likes. It was a rush, wasn't it? A real jolt of validation, like, hey, people see me. Now fast forward to your 10,000th like. It's not a feeling anymore, is it? It's just data, an expected number popping up on a screen. That dopamine faucet has totally run dry because your brain has completely adapted to it. So, if those external rewards start to lose their punch, what fills that space? Well, that leads us right to our second clue, the journey inward. This is that moment when you stop looking for your reflection in the screen and you start building an internal compass, one that points true no matter what's trending online. Psychologists have a term for this. It's called self-concept clarity. But in plain English, it just means you know who you are. Your core beliefs, your values, they're solid. They form this stable foundation that isn't going to get shaken by the constantly changing winds of online opinions. And this comparison here lays out the choice so perfectly. Over on the left, you've got these flimsy internet metrics, likes, follower counts, numbers that could literally vanish overnight. But on the right, you have the bedrock of a real identity, your personal values, your core beliefs. The people who go ghost, they just decided to build their house on solid rock, not on shifting sand. This quote right here really says it all. When you truly know who you are, your identity just doesn't need a login to prove it exists. Okay, this brings us to our final and maybe the most important clue of all. When somebody frees up all that time and all that mental space from scrolling, what fills that vacuum? It's not emptiness, that's for sure. It's a huge, powerful shift from just consuming to actually creating. They literally swap passive consumption for deep creation, and that's a fundamental change. See, social media kind of grooms us to be spectators, just endlessly scrolling through a highlight reel of other people's lives. Logging off lets you step out of the audience and get back on your own stage to become the creator of your own meaningful work. And there's actually a scientific name for this process, the incubation effect. You can see the steps here. First, by creating digital silence, you starve all the distractions. That quiet then allows for deep incubation, where your mind can finally connect the dots without being interrupted every 5 seconds. And the outcome? Focused, meaningful creation. It is the formula for breakthroughs and for work that's deeply satisfying. Okay, detective time. Let's put all the clues together. We've got the fading thrill of validation, a rock-solid sense of self, and that big pivot from consumption to creation. The mystery of the ghost protocol is officially solved. So here it is, the final verdict. They vanished because the game just isn't worth playing anymore. The rewards are meaningless. Their identity doesn't need a daily poll to get approved. And crucially, they've decided their energy is way better spent building something that lasts, instead of scrolling through something that's gone in a flash. But hold on, here's the final plot twist.
Because to say they disappeared is to completely miss the point.
They just stopped broadcasting their every move. They chose to be present instead of putting on a performance.
And in that newfound quiet, they started creating, building businesses, writing books, learning an instrument, or just being fully present in their own lives. They didn't vanish. They just got laser focused. And that, of course, brings the whole question back to us. Look, this isn't about whether social media is good or bad. It's about the currency of our attention. So the real question this whole investigation leaves us with is the one right here on your screen. In the silence, what could you build?